And welcome back to the Benched Press.
Hello, hello, hello.
We've been gone for 2 weeks and it feels like forever.
Been lazy. I don't even know what to talk about.
Ugh, man. Well, we've got lots to talk about now. But Aaron being on vacation for a week and work being really crazy the next week, we've been gone and we are back. We're excited about it.
We're here.
We're going to start off with our usual craft beer. The opening craft beer today is by Deschutes in Bend, Oregon. This one is a keeper. It is. Whew, this is the Stoic 2015. It's a Belgian-styled quad. We've had a few tripels or triples on the show, and we're working with a quad now. And as the label says, it is deep and complex.
Very. And they went all out on
Yeah,
this one.
they did. It cost all out, too, just saying. The Stoic malt beverage brewed with pomegranate, and 16.5% of it being aged in oak wine barrels, and 16.5% being aged in oak rye whiskey barrels. And then with the pomegranate note and something else is why they considered it a quad, because they've got four different flavor complexities that they combined of the same brew.
That's just some love and care.
4 nuanced fermentations, aged sequestered in select wine casks, ergo a stoically brewed quad with spellbinding complexity of its medieval ancestors. It's alcohol-y. It's
Alcohol, yeah.
well, it's got that smell
works.
right off the bat where you can tell it's got a little bit higher of an ABV and that it's 11%. But
And you think it's like super citrusy at first,
mhm.
and then like you said, you realize it's that wine
Yeah.
cask that you really get the
And because it's
sweetness from.
yeah, and because
not
it's
citrus sweet.
It's because pomegranate tends to be a really good sweet flavor when they use it. But I think because it was aged in those multiple casks that it seems, I don't want to say flat, but more flat. It doesn't have like that straight out of a keg bubbly beer type taste. It's more mellow, low carbonation.
It's been steeping for a while.
Right. Especially in this bomber that they have coated in a black wax. This thing is
It's a
really,
cool bottle,
really
too.
amazing. Yeah. So I mean B plus,
I'd go with
B
the
plus,
A minus.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you put that much work into something, man.
Right. I mean, this is something that you keep in the whiskey cabinet.
Yeah, you don't drink it every day.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
You still deal with that, you know.
Yeah. Anyways,
Business or personal.
the Stoic by Deschutes. That was
Oh, but
awesome.
good job to shoots.
Sports.
Yes,
This-
so much.
On this election edition of the Bench
did we
Press.
have to even say that? God dang,
Yeah.
we had to.
We might touch on that later on, but maybe not. We're going to go straight into the World Series. We missed it. It's the biggest piece of news. The hype might be dying down around it, besides the Cubs being on the late night talk show circuit and Saturday Night Live and all that stuff. But
Question for you: greatest Game 7 of all time, of all sports?
no.
What?
I would say honestly, from recent memory, the Diamondbacks Yankees was a
Yeah.
it was a better Game 7 because of how many games were won late in the ninth inning. I mean, if you remember, Byung-Hyun Kim and Mariano Rivera both had blown saves. That series went down to the end all the time, and then
No,
the
I'm just
bloop
saying
single
just
by
that game, the Game 7 itself, not the series. But I'm just saying that Game 7,
Yeah.
like with the rain delay, it's just like.
I mean, it was a
and
walk-off
Aroldis-
hit. It was a walk-off hit from the Diamondbacks too, and I mean, you know how I feel about the Cubs, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be.
I mean,
less-
it's always different when it's fresh in your mind because it's
Yeah.
like we know that Aroldis Chapman got played way too much that series,
right.
and what he went in and did, even giving up the home run, and the fact that Raja Davis was only in there because the starter had 2 errors the night before
Mm-hmm.
and then hits that jack. It was I was everything around it being in the moment now that made it amazing.
Right, and you can't deny both of these teams. One of them hadn't been to a World Series in 65 years, and the other one hadn't been in 70.
You talk about 2 teams wanting it.
Right,
Like they
right.
wanted it. And so did their fans, and that's what made it so great, you know?
Right. It truly was incredible, and it's a moment where anybody who watched that game is going to remember where they were and how they felt watching it, even if you're not a Cubs fan. I mean, you would think 90% of the world was born in Chicago with the way the fucking crowd was everywhere. But I personally, I got to watch it with my stepdad, who's you're below average sports fan, but he lived in Chicago for a while growing up and really learned to love Chicago teams. He is a huge Bears fan from the McMahon days, and getting to go out and go to a bar to watch a Game 7, which I do all the time, and he, never does.
But he got like super stoked about this series. Right?
Oh yeah, I mean I didn't know whether to love it or hate it because he was texting me all the fucking time.
Right.
And to me it's not normal.
It's another day in the park. And
Yeah.
then, but that's like honestly one of my favorite things about sports is like you and me, like of course, like we talk every day about sports. It's ridiculous, whatever, But it's really cool when you see outside people that they realize why you love this so much, and like they get so pumped about certain things. Like when it's usually when playoffs come around, or like the U.S. the soccer cup or whatever it may be. People get so into it,
Right.
And like some sports fans would be like, "Oh, well, we're real sports fans." But to me, it's super cool to see these people like really, really care about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so we were at Legends, our hometown bar, for a lot of years in Anthem, Arizona, and we got there at 4:00, started drinking, ready for the game. The game went on until 9:15, 9:30, an hour into when I was supposed to be playing poker, and I just told them, "Hey, blind me out because I'm not missing this."
This is history.
Yeah, they rain delay for 15 minutes, and you thought it was probably gonna come back because they showed the storm and it was rapidly approaching, probably an hour and a half delay.
Which I think was a phenomenal call on their part,
Right.
to pause that game, because you don't
Right.
want that game to be won because of weather.
Right.
And
Right.
great job by officiating and the whole crew. That was awesome.
So obviously the Cubs won in grand 10th inning fashion, and it was extremely exciting. I had a couple of videos on Facebook, my live feed, where I was showing the game, and a couple people told me not to stop recording because they couldn't watch it where they were, which was cool. And obviously, I captured every
The way we can watch things nowadays
Right.
is crazy.
And obviously, Jeff, my dad, was super excited. So that was really, really cool to be a part of. And obviously, I don't really love the fact that everybody was cheering for the Cubs, which is a team I just generally dislike because they were the Cubs. But the double-edged sword is I'm really excited that so many people were excited for baseball because I love baseball. So
And this is
that's
what it
my
took.
yeah.
A
that-
young, talented, and let's be honest, good-looking team, because that matters in sports.
oh my God!
No,
shut up.
it really does. Like those are the people that sell. Like you look at MMA or any big
What
sport.
does that have to do with winning a championship?
No, it has nothing to do with
Making
that.
sense.
But it was bringing people to the sport of baseball. As much as like you don't want to hear it, I see more girls like going to spring training games nowadays. They can't like
Right. But baseball's one
they're a
of the,
good-looking team. It matters.
yeah. I mean,
It does.
football's the biggest American sport out there, and you can't see anybody's face because of the face mask. So it
Well, yeah,
is
but
what it is. But
Their viewership is dropping, and other sports are going up.
yeah,
I mean, it's still football. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah. Where were you? How was your experience?
it was awesome, man. We were with our coworker Hunter. We just got off work, and we was like, dude, he doesn't go to bars. He's a pretty stay-at-home guy. So I took him to like his first like cool bar experience. It was for the Game 7 of the World
Well,
Series.
he's like 25. He's probably had other
I
cool
mean, he
bar
has.
experiences.
I mean, he has, but like you could tell, like
not with Aaron Brutal.
no, not with Aaron Brutal. You know what I'm saying? So I took him to the bar, and he was just like, and he's not a sports fan at all. I mean, you know, he lives with a vegan. He's super indie. Like, goes to Starbucks 4 times a day. But, like, super cool kid. And he was just amazed by it. And that's what I was saying. Like, it was so cool to see his face and the experience by it. And it was all Cubs fans there, and it was packed to the brim. And it was just awesome to watch it. And I just remember being so nervous. And I didn't know. I was like, I'm so happy I'm not a Cubs fan right now. Because, like, I like the Cubs because my boy Addison, I knew him for a little bit. He plays for them. And just I love young, awesome teams, and they're that. And so, like, I was really rooting for them. But
have we told the story about Addison? I'm pretty sure we've mentioned the fact that he's your boy. And, yeah, we've
mentioned it. He used to come to my restaurant during fall ball.
Right.
He was a good buddy of ours with some other dudes that played.
Before he was traded to the Cubs organization from the A's organization.
It was right afterwards, actually.
Oh, right after?
It was the Cubs. It was when he was getting over his injury. He was traded for Schwarzer. He was part of that trade deal that brought him to Chicago. And they sent him a fall ball to get some in-bats because he was coming off a really bad injury. Because he was killing it in minors before that. And he was going to play professionally for the A's. And then, like, so he went over. Cubs were like, hey, play some fall ball, and he was in our restaurant, and, you know, became friends with the guys, and they invited me and Carl to a couple of games, and were always really cool to us. So, you know, I've been following his career since then. And, like, even my dad texted me, he's like, dude, your boy, if he just would have had like 2 hits or like 4 RBIs in the Game 7, man, he would have got the MVP. And I was like, yeah, he totally would have. But
if he had a little bit more momentum going into it, I mean, he had a good end of the Cubs or the Dodgers series for sure, but really struggled in the division series.
Extremely bad.
But yeah. Anyways,
but his defense.
But you went out with Hunter, and it was to Half Moon, another one of our old spots.
$5 Monster Long Island's. Not mad about that, and it was super cool. It was awesome. The energy was insane, and I was just so nervous. And I was like looking at these Cubs fans. And so when they won, this guy, man, he just grabs his Budweiser. Dogs are, you know, outside. My boy's girlfriend's sitting there and just smashes on the ground. And it was hilarious because
he basically gronked a Budweiser bottle.
A full Budweiser on a full patio. And, like, in any other scenario, you're getting beat up, dude. Sir, you're getting beat up. There's a dog right there. It's my boy's girlfriend. But me and my boy both looked at each other like, you know, I think it's okay. Just because, like, I was just like, we can't be mad at him, right? He's been waiting for this for how long? So it was like one of those weird moments where, like, yeah, man.
I guess I might let this one slide today.
You're cool, man. Yeah. Like, sports, they're crazy.
So I think, from my perspective, and I'm not sure if I've told you guys the story or not, but whether you like it or not, or how could you hate the Cubs, whatever. I don't like the Cubs. They're the team I chose to dislike because the Astros were in the National League Central all my life growing up until, 4 years ago. And there was a season, second half of 2008, the Astros were on a tear, had one of the best records in the second half, and Hurricane Ike was coming through Texas. And because of Hurricane Ike, we had to move our home series against the Cubs somewhere else. Where do you think they moved that? Where do you think they moved that game that was supposed to be a home series for the Astros? It wasn't L.A. It was Milwaukee, 90 miles away from Chicago.
Good call.
Fucked up is what it is. That's fucked up. And Carlos Zambrano threw it.
The Cubs didn't decide to do that, right?
Yeah, so I'm equally pissed at Bud Selig, but it's because Carlos Zambrano, who was a douchebag, threw a no-hitter against us, and then the next game we got shut out. It was like 18 straight innings of no-run ball, made us look like a team of Tim Tebow's out there, and
just winning game winners. No, I love this car right now, guys. Like, Carl Ruthless is just checked in.
I get mad thinking about it.
He's red right now.
I get mad. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. At the we ended up getting third. We were 3.5 games out of out of the wild card. We didn't make it. Chicago won the division hand over fist, 97 wins, and we had, 86. But after that, we were never the same, and we lost all of our ground in the wild card. So I hated Carlos Zambrano, and I hated the Cubs, and so I wanted to win before them, and that's just kind of how it was for me. Now, that being said, as a I guess in the spirit of the election, bipartisan baseball fan, if you will, everything that's come from the Cubs winning and all of the people who have lived their entire lives and never seen them go to the World Series. I mean, I was lucky enough to see that in 2005, even though we got swept. By the way, I was the most pissed off kid at Disneyland at 15.
Only kid pissed off at Disneyland ever.
But the story you heard about the old man who was watching the Cubs game, listening to Cubs Game 7 at his dad's gravesite.
So many great stories.
The guy on hospice that died a few hours after learning the Cubs won, who was a lifelong Cubs fan. That means he really 80 years he was a Cubs fan and didn't see anything. So I mean, you can't deny.
I heard one where this guy quit drinking when he was 30 and now he's 85 and he kept one beer in the fridge for when they won and you don't really hear it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
And that I'll never take that away from Cubs fans. Congratulations to Cubs fans, and I mean, the day the Astros win, I'll break. I'm sure I will because I care so damn much. But yeah, congratulations to the Cubs. Lo siento to the Cleveland Indians. That would have been a cool story for Cleveland to have the Indians and the Cavs win, but it is what it is.
A little side thing, man. I'm happiest for the Cubs for Joe Madden.
Yeah,
because that dude, if he didn't win, he is getting blasted right now.
Oh yeah,
because he made some.
We should have gone over a few more game details. I mean,
yeah, that's what I was like.
Pulling Hendricks.
He to me, he's top 3 favorite manager in the game. Love the guy. I think he's incredible. But he probably managed some of those games as bad as you possibly. Everything he did.
Well, they were down 3-1, so he had to make some
bad.
tough decisions.
But pulling the guys he pulled in the 6th inning when they were just coasting.
Yeah, man, that Hendricks call, I guarantee you, people were already starting to write the fall apart story of the Cubs, and that decision he would have gotten nailed to the wall. I mean, look at what happened to Buck Showalter for not putting in his closer when Ubaldo gave up the game.
And he made some just insanely questionable, everyone was just what are you doing, man? And so I'm happy for him because that's all forgotten now because he just won the World Series with the Cubs. But Theo Esping, maybe the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of myself. I like him.
Dude, he won. He's the curse breaker.
Did you see the picture of him eating goat with his buddies at the stadium? Yeah.
But you break the Red Sox curse.
Yeah.
And then you go and break the Cubs curse. This guy's a monster.
I think we're wrapped up on time for a World Series.
Our hourglass is definitely broke on that one. Sorry.
But just so everybody knows, baseball's back in 3 months. So there's that. We get a 3-month break and then spring training.
Thank God.
Spring training in February.
Oh, spring training Arizona.
Oh yeah.
Servers are yeah.
All right. So moving on. NFL is in the thick of it right now.
One of the weirdest seasons I think I remember in a while, man.
This season is really weird.
We were talking on the way here, and we're just who's clear cut? The Patriots are the Patriots, but who's gonna take them? And he made it great. He was just Dallas, an above average quarterback. He's good. Dak's great. Don't get me wrong. A really good running back, and then
you know what it comes down to? The NFC is just super weak right now. The NFC is super weak. The AFC looks strong. You've got Oakland. I
think Dallas is better than Oakland.
I think Oakland-Dallas would be much more even. I think my point is putting the Patriots up.
But
the best three in best three in ours match up with the best one in
because
NFC.
You have those teams the Packers aren't the Packers. Obviously.
No, sputtering.
You have these teams that are usually And then you have these teams that you thought were going to be some like the Vikings, who were like,
Shit
all
in the
right,
bed.
man. And the Eagle, like, you're like, okay. Like, everyone's like, there's not a whole lot of really bad teams. There's just not like a lot of great teams. Or maybe it's just everyone's so good now that it makes it look like everyone's kind of okay. Do you know? I mean, you don't really know.
I mean, the Vikings shouldn't be losing to the Lions after losing
I
Calvin
think
Johnson
so.
and stuff like that.
But the Lions are beating people. Lions aren't bad.
Yeah, but they're just. My point is, if you were the Vikings that people said you were going to be, you can't lose 3 straight games to the Eagles and the Lions. You know what I mean? You just can't do that.
Yeah, but
There was a lot of hype around the Vikings, and
it's
I mean,
really
who
hard.
else? Who else besides the Cowboys is potentially going to come out of the NFC?
It's just really hard to beat people with just a really great defense. And you guys, like, I mean, that's how you won the Super Bowl. But that's what makes what you guys did even, like, more kind of remarkable is, like, when was the last time you really saw that? Just a really good like, yes, you had Seattle, but they still had a good offense. And, they seemed to still had you guys didn't really have much of an offense last year, and still could just beat people.
In my
And
opinion,
eventually you're going to wear down, and that's what's happened with the Vikings. They don't have any offense, man. The defense is going to get tired.
So through 4 weeks, people were saying the Vikings are the Vikings have even better numbers than the Broncos did last year, and yada yada yada. Quarter of the way through the season,
In what?
in their stats and up to that point,
Okay.
right? I've done a lot of research on this subject because I am a Broncos fan, and there are a lot of reasons why you can say the Broncos last year were the best defense of all time. I mean, when you look at the penalties that are being called on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive style of the NFL that we're dealing with now, there's a lot of reasons you could say that. So we were special for that reason, and that's why we were able to carry such a mediocre
Yeah,
offense.
well, for me to win to win a Super Bowl with the offense that you guys had, you guys have to be one of the best defenses
Right.
of all time.
Right.
I think that's exactly what the Vikings are showing you. Is like, yes, they have a great defense, don't get me wrong, but they're human. Your defense was pretty unhuman last year.
Right.
And they're breaking down. They just can't do it that long. They can't.
So let's real quick go over the NFC. Vikings, Packers, Lions, Bears. Packers, Vikings, maybe, because it's a crapshoot. NFC East, Cowboys, Eagles, Redskins, Giants. Besides the Cowboys, the rest is just who knows what you're going to do. It's all above average teams trying to battle it out, right? And third division, NFC West, you have Seattle, St. Louis, San Francisco, and Arizona. Thank you.
Seattle's got that song.
Arizona shit
The
the
way they're
bed.
looking, right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically if you say Seattle, Dallas, conference finals, and then we'll just leave the NFC there. Then you go to the AFC, and you're talking about the Falcons.
You just put like our division
right
over
Shit,
in the NFC.
shit,
and
right?
it's like,
Could you imagine our division having to play each other in the playoffs? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a coin toss, no matter who you're talking about.
all really good teams, man.
Right. The Raiders are obviously, I mean, they made us look like idiots, man, on Sunday Night Football, and
So you guys are what, 7 or
no, we're 6-3.
6
The
and 3.
The Raiders are 7-2. We're 6-3.
We're 4 and 5, which
Right.
we're much better than that. And then you got Kansas City,
who's 6-2 because of the bye
so
week.
and legitimately we're a 6-3, 7-2 team realistically.
Right, realistically.
Talent wise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's a stacked division. That's
Yeah, you
just-
hear that, Sam? That's a stacked fucking division.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I had a conversation with him about the strength of our divisions, and he talked a lot of shit on ours 2 weeks in, and look at it now, and look at his now.
Well, I obviously don't. I don't talk sports with him when I'm drinking. It doesn't turn out well.
Don't talk with him when you're sober.
Okay, so
So, any of the division winners can potentially come out of the AFC. And honestly, if you talk about the Raiders, the Falcons, and the Patriots, I think they're all favored over every NFC team that's going to come in.
I agree with you.
So,
And I would be, if I had to bet against the Broncos, the Chargers, or Oakland against Dallas, I'm taking one of those teams. Probably not Kansas City, but one of those things I'm probably taking.
mm-hmm. Just some notes real quick. Steelers, what the fuck, man? I mean, they shit the bed versus the Dolphins. They shit the bed versus the Ravens. I mean, they're back and forth. They're heads or tails. They can't figure that out.
Well, that's what happens when you're on all offense, and that defense is fucking horrendous.
The Pats would be undefeated if they had Brady all season. They almost went undefeated even without Brady for 4 games. Packers can't decide what kind of team they are. I can't wait to have Sam and Justin on to talk a little bit about what they think is going on with the Packers. I mean, they had one of the best run defenses in the league by far,
and they still got those names, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're still up at the top in that, but it's
they have all the names that you want, but they're just not. They're not putting together, man.
Right, they have all the same ingredients that made Rodgers successful before. Let's see. Giants beat the Eagles. Who cares? Yeah, I mean it's just if you're not fans, it's mediocre football, and you never know who's gonna win. And no offense, the Eagles are on their way there. They shouldn't have gotten rid of McCoy. I mean, Christ, look at that now. And they need a couple of receivers. They got no-namers all over the place. Panthers eked one out against the Rams. Watching their football is terrible. And now everybody's watching every game and just thinking like, oh my God, look at that hit on Cam Newton. There's no flag, you know? Saints and 49ers. Can I just say real quick, I'm going to interject here on myself.
Yes. All right, weirdo.
So I made a trade in fantasy football, and I traded 2 25-ish ranked guys, Mark Ingram and Kenny Britt, for Lamar Miller, who's ranked top 5 for the rest of the season. He's got an easy schedule. He's like number 2 in yards.
I don't hate that trade.
Yeah, everything that in my like trade analysis and stuff like that says that I'm up on the trade, right? Mark Ingram goes off for 30 points against the Niners. And this was my mistake because I sent out a bunch of trade offers and they got accepted quickly, and it went through on Saturday, and I was too afraid to back out because Ingram has just not done for me what he should. Yeah. And I didn't want to nullify the trade by him going, no, I'm only doing it because Lamar Miller was also on a bye week. So I started Mike Davis for the 49ers, who I don't even think got a carry. So yeah, I went 4-0 to start the season, and now I've gone like 1-4. The rest, it's not looking good, man. C.J. Anderson went down, and Booker is not doing what he was supposed to be. Like preseason, I had what I thought was a magical fantasy football team.
Oh, I loved it on paper.
I had Carson Palmer, who I picked after like 111th. C.J. Anderson, Mark Ingram, T.Y. Hilton, A.J. Green, Marvin Jones. I was just like, oh. But anyways, anything else for the NFL, Aaron? Chargers, your game?
Not really. Oh, Melvin, man.
Melvin
Hey,
Gordon.
Big shout out, man. Just killing it. He threw a little shout out. LaDainian Tomlinson was at the game, and he was like, I hope that made him proud, which I thought was super cool. And I just love the mojo with those guys right now. It's cool. Right. Phillip was just like, hey, he straight said, he's like, I would have paid a ticket for some of those runs, so good for him. Thank you for not being another Ryan Leaf. I appreciate it, because my heart couldn't take that again. And just keep it up, brother.
I do have to play a devil's advocate here, and you did give up 35 points to the Titans.
We did, but we have a lot of injuries on defense, my friend.
And you got 2 defensive touchdowns. So by all accounts, defensive touchdowns are not something you're supposed to count on. If you take away 14 points, you lost 29-35.
Yeah, but we do have a lot of guys out on defense right now, and we're beat up all the way around.
Are you going to get some of them back? Because your guys on offense, you're not going to get back.
Yes, we're gonna get some of our linebackers back. Shoot, what's his
Teo's
name?
out for the season.
Teo's out for the season. I am so sorry, I'm drawing the blank. The kid, he's been killing it. He killed you guys.
Your corner,
No, inside linebacker.
Vontae.
Starts with a B.
Oh, I thought it was a V.
No, it starts with a B. He's been killing it. He was just destroying people. He was making huge plays. He had an interception last week or the week before last. Like, awesome. Like, that's what's been the problem with us is we've been getting hurt, and then our guys have been coming and stepping up.
Bob Backich.
No, that's not him. And then our guys get hurt again. So, it is what it is. Our Joey Bosa's still been just murking it. Stoked about that kid. He's an animal. He's breaking rookie records for his first games. So
Jason Verrett.
no, that's our cornerback out of TCU. That's hurt.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
No, yeah, that's our cornerback, not our
Yeah,
linebacker.
he's out for the season.
Yeah, he's out for the season.
I don't know who your other linebacker is.
Yeah, he came in. He was doing awesome. But it is what it is.
Last but not least, it was nice to see the Bills score some points on the Seahawks, and it just lends itself to our point that the NFC is strangely weak. Was it Butler?
Butler?
Donald?
I don't know, bro.
Bolt?
Moving on.
Move on.
That's where we're gonna take our first break. When we come back, we're gonna do our second beer of the night, and we've got NBA run around, and then Aaron's gonna talk UFC 205.
205. Oh, I hope you people are
Sounded
so
like
excited.
auto tune, man.
I know, that's right. That T-Pain on the track, though.
I'm going to put auto-tune on that part.
Nice. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Be back in a sec. Episode 4, Part 2. Part Deuce. Part 2. Deucem, as we like to call
I
it.
love Deucems. Not Dudesums, Deucems.
We're back with another beer from Rogue because they just have so many damn good ones. This one is
Is.
what city is Rogue out of?
Portland.
It's out of Portland. Another Oregon beer. I knew that. It's an American style IPA at 6.3%, and I picked this out specifically because it's the Rogue Nation Brutal IPA.
I'm keeping the bottle.
Yeah, it's the Aaron Brutal IPA.
They got smart.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about it? It's our typical favorite color. The American IPA almost has the same color as a
Hef.
a Belgian, except a little bit darker.
Yeah. It's just smooth. It's drinkable. I can have more than one of them.
Yeah.
6%.
And the American part in the American IPA comes out because it's almost like a lagerish IPA, and that's what people relate to America as the lager.
And that lager almost gives you this like silky feel on your tongue. It's just nice to drink. It's enjoyable.
It's like an IPA with a little bit more filling, a little bit more full tasting.
Balanced hops on it, not killing you anywhere.
Any specific notes you're picking up? Nowhere near as complex as the Stoic that we had to open the show.
No, it's just one of those nice drinkable beers. Usually when you talk about drinkable, they're not going to be super complex. It's just balanced. You get the hops more afterwards than during it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really get a whole hops during it. And then when you dry your palate a little bit, you kind of feel those hop notes, which I prefer my hop notes on the back end. So I like it.
Yep. Brutal Bitter. Available year round, and it's 46 IBU, and that's the bitter units. So, like I said, available year round. Go ahead and pick it up at any local spot. Moving on. Sports. Basketball. NBA. We're 7 games in. 6, 7, 8. Let's do first surprises / disappointments.
Okay.
for me, the Thunder being 6-1 is definitely surprising. But then I look at their schedule and the Heat, the Suns, and I think the Hornets. They beat the Clippers by 2. It was 85-83.
And I'm surprised by them, but not by Westbrook at all, because that's what
Right.
he did every time Durant was out. Was put
Yeah.
up those kind of numbers. So
But I mean, he's still not. And I'll be honest here. This is from my listening research and not from my actual eyes of watching. But people are not as impressed as they were last year by any means. I mean, he's
he's breaking records for the way he's starting off the season.
I don't think so. I didn't hear that.
He has 3 triple doubles already. Look at how many. I'm pretty sure he has 3 triple doubles.
Yeah, I mean, I know he has at least 2. Did he do that to himself, or am I just a dick? I mean, because we expect that from him, is it not that exciting?
It's got being a dick, man. You could look up how many triple doubles Kobe Bryant has, and I'm pretty sure Russell Westbrook has more in one season than his whole career. I mean, the guy's an animal, but I'm pretty
Right.
sure to have 3 in the
But-
first 7 games, which I'm pretty sure it is 3, is impressive.
Yeah, so I mean, he's averaging 30 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 9.9 assists.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty damn good.
yeah. So maybe I am being a dick,
You-
but I mean,
The James Harden bias. It's okay, Buck.
yeah, it's definitely partly that. I mean, the either way, they're surprising to me with the way they've started off. I expected them to struggle a little bit more just because the overall missing pieces after Durant and Perkins and Ibaka,
Ibaka.
yeah. But Adams and Oladipo they're both getting extensions and they're playing really well.
And they have Cantor now, so they don't have to play this juggling game in the middle between all them.
Yeah. And then the Warriors, I would say from the West, they're kind of disappointing to me.
I expected this, though.
You did?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, man. They're going to be there. You look at Cleveland, when they started the season, you run into the bumps, man, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're running into them. And then they have their flashes where you're like, shit, this team is ridiculous. And then they're going to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, so early season predictions, you more accurately put the Lakers at 9th seed, maybe 8th, which we both agree plus or minus.
Well, and that's my surprise of the season so far.
Right.
And I'm not an unrealistic fan where I'm sure there's Laker fans out there like, oh, we're gonna be in the 4 seed in the Western Conference Finals. Come on, guys. Let's be honest. Let's be excited about what we have. I mean, we're playing good right now. We destroyed the Warriors. It's our first back-to-back-to-back win in, I think, since they said 2013. So let's be happy.
Did you say your first back-to-back win since 2013?
No, 3 wins in a row, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the reason I brought them up is because of their win versus the Warriors, and as good as your team looks early on with the young talent and even the ones that you didn't really expect to blossom, like D'Angelo and stuff like that, are still being really good contributors. And
D'Angelo, that's who I thought was going to blossom.
no, I mean the players that aren't like D'Angelo that you
Oh,
didn't,
yeah,
that you didn't
Larry
really
Nance
expect.
Jr. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean the ball movement was great. They look like a street team who have been together for a long time,
Yeah.
not a professional team who's only been together this year. Besides a couple of them, obviously Nick Young and
Yeah, well, I
D'Angelo.
think that's all has to do with Luke, man. They're saying they died for this guy. I mean, he's brought that team together. He's the perfect coach for that team. The scenario is ridiculous. You got a bunch of young players that got the perfect coach, and then because they don't have a lot of expectations on him, and then you got Luke Walton, who's a great coach, but it's not like he went to the Celtic or Cleveland or somewhere where he has like, you got to win a title this year.
Mm-hmm.
No, he has time to grow with this team. So like for everyone involved,
Which I'm really happy for the Lakers because in the last few years with Kobe, it's like they were trying to force making a miraculous championship run happen, and they were running through coaches like freaking Tomo runs through underwear. I mean, it was
he
crazy.
sharts a lot, just sharting it up.
No, I mean that's another surprise. I'm happy for them. Continuing on with the West and visiting my team, I don't know how to feel about my team. As a guy who knows more than the average person about basketball, we're sitting at 4-3. Harden is the best player in the NBA right now, in my opinion. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it like that. What I mean is he's having the best season thus far, in my opinion. He's averaging over 31 points, over 7 rebounds, and over 12 assists. And
He's an animal.
He's got 4 games so far of 30 points and 15 assists, which nobody's done that 4 times in their first 7 games.
He needs help.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'll break it down real quick from my point of view. We've got Harden, who can score and distribute and shit. Like some nights he looks like Magic Johnson, but we're still in a D'Antoni offense where he can get those assists because he's pitching it out to Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon and people who can shoot. But where does this offense get you? I mean, where does this style of basketball get you? It gets you 110 points a game, and you give up maybe an average of 108. And then on the bad nights, when you get into the playoffs playing the best teams, you're going to get tired, and they're going to just score a lot of points because they can stop you every now and then, and you can't stop anybody. You know what I mean? Like I don't see the end game for this type of offense. You have to be able to plug it up somehow or play the half court in some type of way. So I like as much fun as it'll be to be a top 4 seed in the West, which I think we will be, and maybe a top 4 overall offense. I still just don't think that takes you anywhere. So it's irritating to have a good team and a system that you just don't think can win. You know,
with the players though too though. Like
I mean,
Ryan
Ibaka would be a great
Yeah.
add for us, but then what you're playing him at the 5 because you're pushing out Anderson to the 3 line at a
But
4.
he's not a bad guy coming off the bench though either.
Right. I mean,
So
we
that's
get
obviously-
Beverly back, who's a defensive dog,
Yeah.
in 20 games. So we'll see. But I think you just got to have that. I mean, if your first team is going to come out and score points, your second team's got to at least be able to score a few and then stop them. You know what I mean? Like have your second unit have some type of specialty.
Yeah, I think it's those guys like Sam Decker and stuff really need to like.
Yeah.
Show
and,
up.
I mean, I just don't think
I
that's,
haven't watched him enough. I liked him coming out of college, but
I don't think that's going to happen this year, but it's still like, yeah. It's just my point of view on that style of offense. I hope my subreddit doesn't hate me for this. What do you think? Go Eastern Conference now? Same thing?
yeah, let's do it. What's going on over there?
What is going on over there? Cleveland lost their first game tonight.
Yep.
Who were they playing? They played... Shit, if I remember. So they were 6-0, and they just lost to the Hawks 110-106, which kind of a cool story there. I mean, Dwight Howard went back, and
Yeah,
they're doing
he
pretty
seems to
well.
be
They
playing pretty good.
they beat us, and they're 5-2, and they're third in the West. The freaking Hornets are 5-1. It's second in the West. So I mean, obviously,
Kemba's playing great.
right. If you're going off the first sub 10 games right now,
Which is hard to-
they're an awesome surprise. They've beat the Nets, the Sixers, the Heat, and the Bucks. So that's not going to last very long, probably.
no,
But still,
no, but I'm actually really excited to see what Dwight does, because like for the first time, like he really has no attention on him, like at all.
mhm.
Like he's just playing ball for the first time in a long time, and I think he's one of those, I hate to say it, mentally weak players where I think that's where he thrives. You
Mhm.
know, like He's over there. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Dwight Howard, he's done, and I think he's gonna have a good year.
Gosh. Raptors at 4-2. The Bulls are 4-3 with Noah and Rose in the additions. Knicks are 2-4. They can't
Figure out the triangle.
figure out shit.
It's about time to bury that triangle, boys.
Yep. The Heat are 2-4. The Wizards, big surprise at 1-5. They're falling apart in DC. We just beat them.
Which sucks, because you've been waiting for... I mean, but it is still so early.
Yeah. 76ers, I mean...
Joel Embiid been looking great.
They've got players that are looking good, but they're 0-6. Yeah, and, let's see. I was hearing something about them putting Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel is kind of getting some traction. We obviously know they've been on the block for a while.
Someone's got to go.
I know, right? So,
and they're all good.
Right. What about the Warriors? They're doing well because they have so much talent, but the more you watch them, the more you see that they're really missing any type of offensive rebounding.
Yeah.
And
Zaza is not the answer.
No, he's not.
I was watching that dude get punked by Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was Julius for a while, and it was Tariq Black that was just destroying this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think I don't think he's the he needs to sit down.
Yeah.
He's not your guy.
Embiid is averaging over 17 points a game, almost 7 rebounds a game.
Tears and waiting, man. Coming out just killing it.
Young center.
Did
You know what's crazy? And I feel like people always forget this, but at 22 years old, you are still maturing. You are still, your testosterone is not even, I mean, imagine what these guys are going to do at 24, 25 when they're men. And at 22, you're barely a man, body development wise.
We're so what you've done for us now, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But you look at any of the greats, man.
He was born in '94. Give me a break.
I know.
He was a freshman when I was graduating.
I mean, you look at your Stephs, all these guys, man, all the hate they got when they were young, their first couple of seasons. It happens. I mean, Joel's thing, he was just hurt.
Right.
But so people forgot how much of a monster he was. Doing the dream shake the other night.
Oh, my God.
Just so beautiful.
Olajuwon lives. Let's see, what's Ben Simmons doing?
He got hurt. I think. Pretty positive he got hurt. He's out for a little bit.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
He was doing good, though.
Mm-hmm. Might be playing point guard for them when he comes back.
Should, because they don't have one.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That'll give him some extra skills later on, even if they do move him on.
Yeah. They need some shooters, though, at the 2 and 3 if you're going to have that lineup in there. Because you're going to have to, I mean, I'm playing Okafor and Embiid in there together. And then you're playing Ben at the 1. So you need some shooting to come from somewhere. Because those dudes are good within range, but outside, you know.
Anybody who's listening to this, by the way, and is interested in fantasy basketball, hit me up. I cannot find a 10-team, let alone a 12-team league to put together to save my life. And I really want to play. I want to play.
Fun. It's hard.
My barber even said, hit me. He's Russian. He's like, hit me up, call. I play with you.
He's like, I love Porzingis. Porzingis is the future.
Yeah, so, I mean, I got him, I guess. This guy's great. Roddy from Twin Barbers on 19th and Greenway.
Shout out.
Dude, I go in there and I talk fantasy football with him the whole time.
And he makes this ugly dude look kind of good looking to me.
I know, right? I mean, the hard part's where it's at. The hard part's where it's at.
You're welcome.
Well,
I showed you the hard part, sir. We'll save that
debatable
for another podcast.
All right. We're going to save hockey for next week. We're going to try and give it a few more games so we can get into it a little bit more like we got into the NBA tonight and really give it a good 20-minute segment. But we are going to go into Aaron's brutal predictions for UFC 205.
Ooh, I get to do. I didn't know I get to do predictions.
You're going to give me your opinion whether I like it or not. So, I mean, let's hear
All
it.
right. Well, let's start with the prelims. So we'll start at. Which the prelims, this prelim card is absolutely just stupid. I'm not going to do all the prelims.
But what you're saying is the prelim card for this fight could be a main event.
Yeah, you have number one, like top 10 fighters in the world going against each other in the prelims. It's kind of ridiculous.
Whenever you go through the cards, do me a favor if you can and you know the weight division that they're fighting in, let me know because I take these conversations and I try and remember some of this shit.
So very disappointed in this, but so Rashad Evans was supposed to come back and fight Tim Kennedy. But Rashad Evans, due to medical reasons we don't know why yet, backed out. Sucks. I'd love to see Rashad fight again. I really want to see Tim fight again. Not happy about it, but it happens. It's one of the big reasons why it's hard for UFC to get any bigger than it is right now. Is because it's just so unpredictable. Like cards look so amazing 2 months out, and the card's completely different when it comes up. So we have Khabib versus Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, just ridiculous Mike Tyson kind of dude, power out of this world. They're 155 pounders. So there's a controversy because Khabib is one of the best in the planet. He's an absolute monster. He's been hurt for like 2 years. He's just coming back. And Conor McGregor is fighting for the title, never fighting a 155-pound fight in his whole life. So there's a lot of people.
Is he usually under or over 155?
Conor McGregor fought 145. That's where his belt's at. Went up and fought Nate at 170 both times.
Lost the first time, won the second time.
Yeah, he was supposed. So before the first Nate fight, he was supposed to fight Rafael dos Anjos for the belt at 150. Rafael got hurt. That's when Nate stepped in. And this is when this whole Nate and Conor thing came out of nowhere and became what it was. Khabib's one of the greatest in the world. A lot of people think he should be fighting. There's a lot of the people that they think should be fighting for this belt against Eddie Alvarez, over Conor. And I get it. I agree with it, but it is what it is. To say he hasn't earned it, I think, is disrespectful because he has. He's the biggest draw in UFC of all time.
Right. Not only that, but I mean, what they're doing is the more titles that they give him, the more fights they get to show him. When people like, what was his name? Habib. When people like him get their title shot, they get to throw McGregor on the main event again.
They do, but he's battling in so many divisions that, like, after this fight, no matter whether he wins a belt or not, he has to vacate a title. They're not going to let him hold two. Because this 145 belt, I mean, you remember the fight when he knocked out Jose Aldo in 12 seconds? How long ago was that?
2 years?
It's
year and a half?
It's about a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's how long this 145 belt has been held up. He hasn't fought in 145 since then. In a year. So it's just hard to do that. And you never know with Conor. They're saying he's going to take a year off after this. He has a big announcement right after this fight. Because he fights more than any other fighter besides maybe Cowboy. And he has his girl and he wants to take some family time.
Right.
But Khabib, Michael Johnson, you have Khabib, who's just a grappler, jiu-jitsu guy, all around great. I think he's going to destroy Michael. But Michael's one of those guys, if he catches you, it's night time. That's basically what that fight comes down to. Khabib's 23-0. Dude's never lost. He's an animal. Mm-hmm. We'll go on from that. Frankie Edgar versus Jeremy Stevens. They're 145 pounders. Frankie Edgar has been looking like an animal until he fought Jose Aldo at UFC 200, and that's when Aldo, because to me that was one of my favorite fights at 200 because I felt like a lot of people were every time Conor wins, everyone wants to knock on him. Like, it was this. You faced a Jose Aldo that was towards the end of his career, even though he's the first guy to ever beat him. And then he comes out against Frankie Edgar, and you're like, no, that's still Jose Aldo. He just destroyed this guy that was killing everyone, and everyone thought he should have been fighting Conor, and Jose made him look like a child. So Frankie, love him. He's amazing. He's fighting Jeremy Stevens. He's your power puncher. Same thing. Probably the hardest hitter in that division besides McGregor. Frankie, I think, is gonna eat him up again. But again, I think Frankie Edgar's ranked number 1 or number 2 in the world. Jeremy Stevens is ranked number 7, and this is on a prelim card. Misha Tate's fighting Raquel. I'm gonna take Misha Tate. I think she needs this fight really bad. Super excited for her. Let's go. Donald Cerrone versus Kevin Gastelum. Donald Cerrone at 170 is just an absolute murderer. I'm super excited for him. Very bummed because he was supposed to fight Robbie Lawler. Cowboy fell through because of medical things, as always. But Cowboy said, Cowboy doesn't care. He wants to fight. So he said, just put anyone in front of me, I'll fight him. Cowboy's going to win that fight. Chris Weidman, Yoel Romero. I mean, this card's just stacked. You have an 18-1 guy going against an 11-1 guy. It's amazing. I have to take Chris Weidman. I think he's pissed off from the loss. And Chris Weidman was one of the biggest guys to really try to get this New York card put together. And to get the UFC to be able to fight in New York because it was banned for so long. So good for him. Joanna versus Carolina. Joanna's probably, honestly, one of my top 3 fighters in MMA, and she's a female.
Mm-hmm.
Her striking is probably top 3 in MMA, men and women. She's an animal. Carolina is a very beautiful young Russian girl, or Polish girl, but she's going to get down. This is 2 Polish princesses going at it. It's going to be fun, but she's going to get her face ripped off. And then Tyron Woodley. So we're in the main cards now, obviously. Tyron Woodley versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Love Stephen Wonderboy. This guy teaches karate to little kids 7 days a week and then trains with his dad afterwards. And we haven't really seen. He's the Matrix in the octagon. This guy does crazy things. Tyron Woodley is super freakish athletic. Knocked out Robbie Lawler, which doesn't happen. It's going to be a great fight. If he catches Steven, he's going to go to sleep. Steven's just so hard to hit. He's this first real karate guy we've ever seen in MMA. So excited about that. And then we have the big show. Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. I don't know, man. This is a hard one for me. Conor's my favorite fighter. He's who made me really, really love and start paying attention to MMA on such a deeper level. And I think he's going to take care of Eddie. But Eddie's a tough guy. He hits hard. And before his last fight, I'd say he destroyed this guy. But Eddie knocked out Rafael dos Anjos, who is one of the baddest men on the planet. And so I have a lot of love for Eddie. But I think Conor showed a whole different side his last fight against Nate. He's not just a guy that's going to come there and beat you up anymore. He can game plan for you. And he can do different things. He had never thrown leg kicks before. And he knew that's how you beat Nate. So he threw leg kicks and beat him. So I think I'm going to have to take Conor on this one. What would you say out of your...
Out of my limited knowledge, I think Conor's one of the best fighters in the game. His biggest downfall and his biggest weakness is his ego and cockiness. Yeah, I think
You
it
think so?
absolutely. I mean, the amount of times I've watched him fight and let people throw punches at him, to me, that's I understand selling your product and I understand marketing you as an individual because that's how you make money and that's how you stay relevant. But people are always gonna like Jerry Rice better than Randy Moss because
That's
because he just fucking did it. and he was the best, and he was humble, and he was nice, and I don't want to see losses from stuff like that. You know what I mean? Do your talking before and after, and go in and destroy people, and then that does all the talking you need. You know what I mean? So that's what worries me when I watch Conor, because I like him so much. I'm Irish. I like seeing him.
For me in
do
the
his
fight
thing.
game though, like that's like his thing. Like for him, that's part of the fight for. He says it's not. He says it's not part of the fight for him. He says he's just being him, but it does something to his opponent, man. Because he really gets in there and he researches shit about. He knows where your kid went to middle school. Like this dude is like it's fucking crazy. Like it's the craziest shit talking I've ever heard in my entire life. But it's effective and it works. And the thing is, it's not talking shit. He really believes everything he says.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the first people to ever really go out there and like do it. He does it and he backs it up. And that's why we're all like so enamored by this guy. Is because he talks so much shit. If he didn't talk as much shit, we wouldn't care as much. But if you have that big of a mouth and you go out there and you just do it, and he loses so gracefully too. Like, and even when he wins, he still goes and shakes their hand and is like, dude, like, hey, good shit.
Right.
So that's why I love the guy. That's our 205 wrap up. Check it out. It's going to be amazing. There's an awesome app on UFC.com, which I found this out it's brilliant. You can literally put in your GPS and it'll show you the closest bars. Because for
Where
Ali's
showing
birthday,
the
we were
fight?
trying to
Yeah.
find out a place to watch it. And you put in where you are, and it will legitimately show you whatever bars around you are showing the fights.
Nice. A lot of them will have a cover, 50-50 on that.
Most of them. Because it
Right.
costs them so much to show those
Right.
fights.
So keep an eye out for that, but you got to watch it. UFC 205 has more names and more noteworthy fights on one night than
3 titles are up.
3 titles.
Are up for
So
So we will be doing a wrap up on what we saw, because we'll both
Definitely
be watching
next
the fights
Tuesday.
this weekend.
Yeah.
So
well, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of I think it's episode 4 now.
yeah,
So episode 4, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you coming back. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode today. Maybe you guys like that. Maybe you're tired of us. Maybe I make the episode next week 3 hours just because fuck you guys.
fuck you.
So anyways, we appreciate it. Aaron Brutal and Carl Ruthless out.
Peace.